Last year, I reached a breaking point with the clutter in my home. I couldn't find anything, and every space was overflowing with stuff I didn't need. So I decided to try something new, a full house declutter. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I tackled every room, threw out everything unnecessary, and transformed my home for 2024. Starting off our journey to a clutter-free life, the first step is throwing away everything that doesn't serve you. This might seem a bit daunting, but trust me, that initial purge will set the tone for your entire decluttering adventure. Think about all those broken items, those random gadgets you haven't touched in years, and clothes that have lost their appeal. I once found a sandwich maker in my closet that I bought 5 years ago and never used. It's funny how these things just accumulate. By discarding these items, we're creating a clean slate and a much more manageable space. But when I say throw away, I don't just mean dump everything in the trash. Our goal is to be mindful and sustainable, so recycle whenever possible. Think of it as a way to clear not just your physical space, but also your mental space. Next up, let's focus on getting rid of anything broken, expired, or stained. It's amazing how many broken gadgets or expired beauty products stick around only to be forgotten. Seriously, I once kept an item that had expired 2 years earlier because I thought I might use it one day. But I didn't. Let's address this together and prioritize creating a safer and more functional living environment by discarding these items. Think about it. That broken lamp or expired can of beans isn't just clutter, it can actually become a breeding ground for bacteria or even a hazard. If you've got kids or pets, this step becomes even more crucial. Safety first, right? And when it comes to stained clothing or linens, unless they hold significant sentimental value, it's time to let them go. While we're on a roll, let's talk about throwing away anything that is straight-up trash. We all have it, whether it's old clothes that should have been donated ages ago or expired food that's been lurking in the back of your fridge. Here's a tip: make this a regular routine. It doesn't have to be a massive project every time. Just a quick once-over every week can make a huge difference. I like to do a trash sweep every Sunday while listening to my favorite podcast. It makes it less of a chore and more a habit. Think about how much lighter and more organized your space will feel without those bits of trash lying around. It's those little things that can add up and create a chaotic environment. Now, what about those items that are still in good condition but you no longer need? Donate them. This is a win-win situation because not only will you be decluttering your space, but you'll also be helping someone else. Think of all those clothes, furniture, and household items that are just collecting dust but could be put to good use by someone in need. There are so many organizations and thrift stores that will gladly take these items off your hands. I try to donate at least twice a year. It feels good knowing I'm giving these items a second life. I once donated a bag of clothes I hadn't worn in years and felt a sense of relief and joy. Plus, it justifies letting go of those "maybe I'll wear this someday" items. So let's fill those donation bins and spread a little kindness while we declutter. And while we're at it, if there are items you've hardly used and think you can make a few bucks off of, why not sell them? Whether it's selling online through platforms like eBay or joining your local garage sale, this can be a great way to declutter while earning some extra cash. I personally love selling stuff locally because it feels more communal. For example, I sold an old gaming console to a teenager in the neighborhood who was thrilled to get it at a bargain price. He got his console, I got my cash, and we both were happy. Selling stuff can also make you more mindful about your purchases. You'll think twice before buying something new, knowing you'll eventually need to sell or donate it if it's not used frequently. All right, friends, let's talk about the things we won't be buying. First up, no more impulse buys. I know it's easier said than done, especially with those late-night Amazon shopping sprees. But we'd have to be honest with ourselves. Are those items really adding value to our lives? When you see something you want to buy, take a moment, a deep breath, and ask yourself if you truly need it. Over the years, I've learned the hard way that impulsive buys almost always lead to regret. I once bought an entire set of fancy single-use kitchen gadgets that I've literally never used. By resisting these temptations, we're preventing future clutter and saving a ton of money in the process. Speaking of cutting back, let's talk about subscription streaming services. These can be seriously expensive, and let's be real, do we really watch all that much TV? I've got YouTube TV, Disney Plus, and Hulu already, and that's more than enough. I found myself paying for services like Netflix and HBO Max that I hardly ever used. So it's time to cut the cord and save that extra cash. It's important to evaluate what you actually use and what's just wasting your money. Maybe you can consolidate your subscriptions or share them with family or friends. Cutting back on unnecessary subscriptions is a simple way to reduce expenses and free up mental space. Another area where I'm drawing the line is home decor. Social media often sets these unrealistic expectations that our homes need to look Instagram perfect, but this leads to unnecessary spending and clutter. I've fallen into this trap before, buying decorative items that look cute but serve no real purpose and just end up collecting dust. Instead of splurging on trendy decor, focus on creating memories with your family. A cozy game night or a weekend brunch in your living room brings much more joy than the latest coffee table book. Let's prioritize experiences over aesthetics this year, and remember, our homes are for living, not just for show. Now let's talk baking supplies. I love baking as much as the next person, but let's be honest, do we really need a dozen different kinds of flour? During my last declutter, I realized I had baking supplies that could last for the next decade. Unless you're baking multiple times a week, it's just not practical to stock up on ingredients that expire quicker than you can use them. Focus on having a few staple items that you use regularly and say goodbye to the rest. I remember the time I bought almond flour for a single recipe and never used it again. Now let's discuss big cleaning tools like vacuums. We already have what we need, so buying more would just contribute to clutter. There's no need to invest in more when you have perfectly functional tools already. Let's focus on making the most of what we have. I've been guilty of wanting the latest and greatest vacuum, only to find that my current one works just fine. Repurpose, reuse, and appreciate what's already in your home. It's a mindful approach that will keep clutter at bay and save you some serious cash. Before we dive into the deep decluttering, one quick tip: do some general tidying first. Just a basic cleanup to get things in order. This simple step can help you identify what truly needs attention and streamline the decluttering process. Trust me, it's a game changer. I like to put on my favorite tunes and do a quick sweep of the house. It instantly lifts my mood and gives me a clear view of what needs to go. Now comes the fun part, creating piles of things that need to go back where they belong. This step is all about categorization. I usually make piles for clothing, books, and accessories, assigning each item a designated place. It's like playing a real-life game, but much more satisfying. Nothing feels better than seeing everything neatly organized. Lastly, let's tackle those neglected areas. I'm talking about your drawers. It's easy to shove things into drawers and forget about them, but out of sight shouldn't mean out of mind. Start by categorizing the contents, eliminating unnecessary items, and then organizing the space using dividers or bins. It's like giving your drawers a little makeover. I recently did this with my kitchen drawers and found items I didn't even know I had. It was like a mini treasure hunt, filled with aha moments and a few "why do I even have this?" instances. By decluttering drawers, you make your life so much easier and more efficient. So, there you have it. A comprehensive guide to throwing everything out in 2024 and creating a clutter-free, organized, and joyful living space. Remember, decluttering is a journey, not a destination. It's about making thoughtful choices and creating a home that truly serves you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more decluttering and minimalist tips. Until next time, happy decluttering.